Well, good morning, class. Good morning, Mr. Rob's Arcade. It's Monday morning and getting ready to go have a little breakfast. Still trying to wake up a little bit. But my buddy Andrew texted me and told me that the new Venom trailer, Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, is out. So I was going to peep it out, but I figured, oh, no, 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 no. Let me do another reaction video that I can show you guys on my midweek breakdown. So before I have my breakfast, before I do my Monday show, I figured I would jump into a little reaction time with this Venom trailer. Now, I'm not really expecting a huge reaction. I mean, I don't know. But the first Venom movie never really got me like really excited, really jazzed. I feel like the Venom movie had some really cool parts, touched on some really cool aspects of the character, but they have yet to make Venom dark enough. I feel like he was a little bit darker in the Spider-Man 3 movie, and Tobey Maguire, and in that run, the two of them had a really good chemistry, but I felt like the Eddie Brock character wasn't cast quite right. Nothing against Topher Grace, but that's not the Eddie Brock I know, and so that never really did it for me. But the Spider-Man films in general are a little bit more lighthearted. But I feel like if you're going to go Venom, you got to go dark. You got to go really, really dark, almost like, double R-rated movie. And the first one didn't quite hit it for me. So I'm not expecting a whole lot from the trailer, but enough yammering. I'm going to go, let's head to the bedroom because my tablet is being a dirty little crotch this morning and it's just being super slow. So let's go head into the bedroom and check out my reaction for the Venom 2 trailer. All right, let's go ahead and check this out. Now, again, this isn't any of the actual trailer. This is just my reaction to the trailer. Huh. Rules, no eating people. Oh, that's funny. I was just talking about breakfast, and they're like, they're having breakfast. I don't know if Venom should be cooking around fire. Venom doesn't like fire. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
Good evening, Eddie. Hey, Mrs. Chen. Good evening, Venom.
Function hall, Mrs. Chen.
He says hi.
Thank you very much, Eddie.
See, this is okay. Hopefully, this will get it. They'll get it right with this.
Every decision we ever make. Who do we leave behind? And how do we leave them?
Ravencroft.
Waiting in the darkness if the rescue never comes. Welcome back, Eddie Brock. It's been a long time. I miss you so much. Soon come chaos. Chaos soon come.
Yeah, I'm not really impressed. Not really impressed.
The chocolate delivery hasn't arrived yet.
No! We had a deal.
What's gonna happen? You gonna stop protecting me?
I am happy to eat, Mrs. Chen. No, you cannot eat, Mrs. Chen. What? Nothing?
All right. Well, yeah, not overly impressed with what I see so far. Again, like I said, I wasn't really expecting a whole lot. Venom on like a scale of like 1 to 10, I probably put it like a 6 or a 7, to be honest with you. It wasn't like one of my favorite movies to come out from the Marvel franchises lately, but Just watching that trailer kind of made me realize a few things just in the casting. Like Woody Harrelson, I'm really glad to see coming to the MCU. Although I would really have enjoyed to see him come into the MCU playing a character called Beta Ray Bill. If you're not familiar with this character, I talked a little bit about him before. You can get some references from him actually in the MCU. His face is on the tower in Thor Ragnarok. There's like a tower in the center of the city there. There's like a bunch of faces on the side. His is like the horse face, and he's kind of like a horse face Thor. He carries a similar hammer to Thor's called the Stormbreaker, which of course we also get a reference to in the MCU. So there has been some references to Beta Ray Bill, and I really would have liked to see Woody Harrelson play that character. I think he'll do a good job as the Carnage character. Cassidy there. But although, looking at it, I was just thinking, speaking of the Spider-Man 3 movie, I almost feel like really they could have pulled in Woody Harrelson to play Eddie Brock for Spider-Man 3. And that would have been, I think, a great casting choice for the Eddie Brock. He's just a big guy. He's like a really big, intimidating, kind of a jerk. And I think Woody Harrelson would have like really nailed that sarcastic kind of a-hole that Eddie Brock embodies so well in the comic books. As well as like, I think the physique side of it. And then again, looking at it, I'm like, wow, like Topher Grace would make a really great Carnage. Like Cassidy's a little bit like on the slimmer side, a little crazier, a little wilier. So looking at that, I was just thinking like, man, there's some good casting in there, but there's some chances they could have hit on with Spider-Man 3 back in the day. I feel like with Woody Harrelson, and that would have been like a cool comeback to have Woody Harrelson play Venom now, kind of like touching on some of this like Spidey multiverse that we've got these whispers about. Tom Hardy does a great job with the Venom character for the most part, but I feel like with this one, they're leaning a little bit towards the comedy aspect of like the Deadpool Marvel movie. Like this is trying to be like Sony's Deadpool movie, and I don't know if that's like quite what Venom is. Like I said, I feel like Venom is a little bit darker, a little grittier, a little bloodier. So I'm not really expecting to be blown away by the actual movie itself. But and again, and just talking with like casting choices and stuff, I always felt like Tom Hardy would have made a really good replacement for Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I think he did a great job in Mad Max, and that kind of character is kind of what Wolverine really is, especially on in the early years. He's kind of like a quiet, brooding, grunting kind of character, and I think Tom Hardy does that really well, as well as kind of has the physical physique. Wolverine's a very short, stocky kind of guy, and Tom Hardy also has that build, that kind of like broken, pudgy nose where he's just been hit in the face over and over and over and again. And I think Marvel really missed out with a great casting choice for Wolverine with Tom Hardy. Not to say, again, like I said, I doesn't think he does a great job with the voice, that back and forth inside of his head, that internal dialogue that he has with himself. He does a great job with that. Very believable as like somebody dealing with like almost like a mental illness. And I kind of felt like that could have been almost like a direction they could have gone with this film too. Like, how do you explain to people in the normal world, like, there's something inside of me. This isn't me. This isn't me doing these things. And not sound like you're delusional. And, you need to be placed in a nut house. And as you see, Cassidy's locked away there in jail in some kind of like, his own little solitude. And I kind of feel like that's an area that they really should have touched on with the Venom character. In the first movie, not a whole lot of people believe him on what's going on, but then all of a sudden his girlfriend knows about everything, and just everything I felt like got exposed very early on, and they left a lot, they let a lot go, like just threw everything out of the bag right away, and didn't leave a whole lot of room to play with like Tom Hardy's ability to really hit that kind of mental illness, fighting with yourself, that a lot of people struggle with, and that is where I feel like you kind of hit gold with comic book movies, when you can take certain things like racism or mental illness and just different things, and be able to put those into terms of like X-Men movies, the Joker and different things like that, and not only tell a great story through comic books, but actually kind of get a message out there that We truly are all the same inside, and there are people out there dealing with things that you know we just have no idea what they've got going on. So way to go, Sony. You blew it. Um, my wife is texting me something. Oh, sorry. Okay, I think breakfast is almost ready. Okay, so I gotta get out of here, guys. I've been rambling too much. Um, Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll be posting this on Wednesday, which is today now, I guess you're seeing this. And hopefully we've had a good run at the comic shop. And who knows, maybe I picked up some Venom comic books. Maybe. We'll see. Next time on Rob's Arcade. Yeah, okay, so, yeah. There we go. Not that overall impressed with the trailer. But, I've always felt comic book movies very much reflect how the title sells within the stores themselves. And, when it comes to things like Venom and Fantastic Four, even, anything that doesn't really, like Avengers, X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, these are the books that sell week to week. The Flash, this is a selling title. These are popular titles. Venom isn't just he's a cult favorite. Venom is like Spawn. Spawn is kind of a cult. They're not mainstream characters, and so I don't expect their movies to be very mainstream themselves. Although I would like to see Venom handled a little bit better going into the future. He's a very dark, complicated character, and I don't think that's being really touched on all that much. But anyway, enough about that. Let's go ahead and check out what I picked up at the comic store today. Now, this is actually really cool because it's a reprint, the second printing, and I felt like I stepped into Spider-Man Curse of the Man-Thing, like almost in the second act of a play, and I wasn't really sure what was going on. And I kind of figured there was an Avengers. I just missed it somehow. I'm not really sure how. I love Man-Thing. I love the Swamp Thing. And these are just really cool characters that I'm into. A lot of horror in these comics, which, as I mentioned before, is what kind of got me into comics to begin with, but not so much horror like Jason or Michael Myers, something out there in the shadows, like waiting to get you. There's a lot of like old school horror in these comic books where you have kind of like the evil mad scientist experiment gone wrong, kind of like Frankenstein or Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, stuff like that. And so I was glad I could pick this up and kind of see how this whole saga started. I think I showed you guys last week. It was X-Men Curse of the Man-Thing, which I have not yet read. That's not one of the 14 comics that I've read, which is also kind of fun when you can kind of double up and just run through 2 issues back to back, keep the story nice and fresh in your head. So really looking forward to reading this. And actually today's kind of gloomy, kind of nasty outside. Might be a great day to kind of kick back and watch something like Man-Thing, Swamp Thing, something like that. Kind of gloomy, kind of creepy. Let's see. Also from Marvel, we got Children of the Atom 3. Very, very fun issue. Kind of fits into of course, the X-Men universe. So far from the first 2 issues, I'm not so sure that these kids are in fact mutants, though. I kind of feel like their costumes may be giving them special powers, but of course we'll see where I feel like there's some twists and some turns coming up with these characters. But so far, been really into this. Kind of like a young X-Men, story, young characters, really fun, really cool art, really good writing. Like it a lot. Now, I just picked up the first issue of this, the What If, the Spider-Man Spider Shadow, where we see what would happen if Peter Parker decided to keep the costume and became Venom. Now, there was a really cool shot of the Spider-Man Venom, and you can actually kind of see a little bit of it here as he's coming around the panel, but it's got a really cool mouthpiece and very much like a spider and it really captures that creepy, that really horrific kind of like fang look that Venom has, but it's a little exaggerated, more like a jaw. This is really really alien looking, really creepy. And What If was another series that when I first started reading comics, I was a really big fan of. And they've got an animated series, I believe, coming out soon to Disney Plus, which should be a lot of fun because I mean those are always like I think that is the beginning of any great story. The question, well, what if? I often find when I'm writing stories and coming up with little, tales and comic book, characters and things of myself. Well, what if? What if? That's just a great question to ask and a great fun, fun title. Also from Marvel and the X world, we've got X Factor, another kind of young, funky, upbeat book, and we got looks like a Captain Marvel here on the cover, the Mojo verse. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun getting back into all the X titles. Wolverine's kind of brought me back into that world, kind of like it did originally. I mean, that's kind of again like how this all started back in the day. I started reading like Punisher and Wolverine after getting into horror comic books, and the next thing you know, I really started getting into X-Men, X Factor, and all of those things. My wife actually picked this one up. I didn't even notice it at first, but this is the new Star Wars 13, and she liked this cover a lot. That's why she picked it up. Is the action figure edition covers, and I do enjoy these a lot. I've got a couple of these already in the collection, and it's just a really cool, really fun idea, and it's just like a mind trip too. I mean, it almost, if you catch it at the right angle, it actually looks like it's an action figure. Really cool. All right, also got, it looks like it's just a Marvel and DC kind of run today. That's kind of odd. Typically I'll grab some comics from other titles. I guess there just wasn't really anything out that I was really interested in. This is the third installment of the Batman Urban Legends. Really, really fun title. Been enjoying this a lot. It's got a bunch of short stories kind of broken up. And that again is something that was very familiar in the horror comics. You used to get a bunch of like short stories within each title, and it was just a lot of fun, and you felt like you got, I mean, this is an expensive book, but you feel like you get more for your dollar. Just excuse me, a lot of stories, a lot of fun characters. You've got Batman, the Red Hood, Grifter, a lot of great artists, a lot of great writers all coming together to work on one book. And then this is a really fun cover here by John Romita Jr., which I've always been a big fan of his. Ever since I was a little boy. And speaking of little boys, we got Challenge of the Super Sons, issue 2. Just like the Urban Legends, this looks like it's another 2 out of 7 short series run. Great thing about DC and Marvel, as they know how to weave in all these little short miniseries within their ongoing titles to keep me just grabbing more. We got Wonder Woman guest starring in this title here. But it's been a lot of fun. I love these two guys together. They're just really cool, really hip book. And they're going around saving all the superheroes. Speaking of superheroes, here's a great super villain, the Joker. The third installment of this book. Really fun colors. I've been talking about these colors, man. They've been really rocking out these really cool neons, these really cool pinks, yellows, greens, and I'm really digging it. It's really fun. It reminds me again of like, the Batman and Robin, Batman Forever movies, where I know those typically aren't the favorite ones, but they just got a really cool, weird, like visual aspect with the contrast of the dark and the black and all the neon colors kind of popping through everywhere. So I've been really enjoying this whole color scheme going on here. And then this book has been really fun. It reminds me a lot of Batman Year One from Frank Miller. A lot of the text is the same. A lot of the art and the like the character design feels very similar. And it's just a really cool, really fun book that feels very much connected to Batman's original story, even though it's the Joker's own title. And then finally we have the Future State Gotham. Now, the Future State has been a really cool run where after the events, where, after the last crisis, we've saved the universe. They've done this really cool idea of like, well, now going forward that the universe is safe, what could happen in the future and what is the new possibility now that we have saved the future and now that we have saved the world, what could lie ahead? And so these titles, Future State, are just really cool, almost again like what if storylines from DC. But I feel like these storylines could very much be founded in reality unless the superheroes of the DC universe come together to stop the future state, which could be another small crisis event in the DC universe, leading up to yet another reset of how their whole world works out. But I've been really enjoying these books. A lot of new character designs, a lot of new characters popping up. And then this one here looks like it features the Red Hood, which is one character I've been kind of wondering what's going on with him during all of this new future state stuff with the whole Batman family. So this ought to be a really fun read, kind of finally answer some more questions and get, again, another perspective on the future state and the Batman family. So really looking forward to reading these. Hopefully I will have upped my comic book reading number for next week. And until next week, it's been fun hanging out with you guys. Please, as always, subscribe if you're not a subscriber, share if you are, comment down below, like the video. These are very simple, just click, click, clicks. Until next week, please guys, don't spend your quarter anywhere else. As always, it's been fun hanging out with you guys. Love you. Till next time. Bye.